Well, welcome everybody to the Transfer and Advising Seminar here at Lansing Community College. My name is Angela Coleman. I'm one of the academic advisors. We have a couple different departments represented tonight on the seminar. We've got financial aid and advising. So I'm going to take some time and let the panelists introduce themselves. So Jim, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Jim Owens. I'm one of the financial aid advisors here at LCC. I've been with the college for 28 years. I actually went to college here before I transferred off to the university and got some different degrees and stuff. But I love working at the school and helping people figure out how to pay for college. It's pretty fun.
And my name's Alan Sorrells, and I work in the academic advising office, and I'm in my 18th year at LCC. And so I work primarily with a lot of the STEM and transfer related students, but we all generally sort of see students from all backgrounds and all futures and all programs. So come see us.
Yeah, definitely come see us. And I'm going to be at LCC coming up on a year here on the 21st, my 1-year anniversary.
All right.
I know, that's awesome. I primarily advise the health career students, but as Alan said, we're all pretty much all generalists. So, come and see any one of us. We can help answer some questions and navigate course selection, degree completion, some of those items that can be tricky, especially if you're starting out. So some housekeeping things I want to cover is we talked about recording the PowerPoint tonight. Everybody is muted on the participants. So if you have a question throughout the presentation, we're going to try and answer general questions tonight. But anything that is really personal or unique to your situation, we would recommend that you reach out to us directly or schedule a follow-up appointment, and we can address your question one-on-one. If you have any technical difficulties, because everybody is muted, use the chat feature as well. You can send me a message in chat and we can maybe try and troubleshoot, but if you can't see or hear us, please let us know. But those options are available to the folks that have tuned in for tonight. Okay. Yeah, it's my slide here. So here's the agenda for tonight, and we're going to cover a couple different things, hopefully smooth the transition if you are transferring into LCC or you're returning to LCC. The goal tonight is to just try and cover some topics that maybe you still have questions about. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Alan.
Okay, and so what I'm going to do is just kind of go from slide to slide here for a little bit and just kind of read the slide mainly, but also try to add in some things that are going to be pertinent to tonight and to your plans at LCC. So, so number one, what is an advisor? So there's about, I think maybe about 8, 10, 12 academic advisors. And what we do is we work with students to kind of make sure that you stay on the right program pathway. And by program pathway, that means anything at LCC. So a major that you might be pursuing, possibly a couple of majors, trying to figure out which major you're pursuing. And then we try to just make sure you're on the right track, whether it's at LCC or some transfer options down the road. And the second bullet point there is we inform you about options and resources you might not know about. LCC can kind of be a complex place, really. I think sometimes students think that because it's the community college and maybe not a huge university, that it's kind of like just a little bit beyond high school. But there's a lot going on at LCC, and we've got probably, I think, 14,000 students. And to support those students, we have all sorts of resources on campus. So we can always make sure that you know what's available to you. So come see us for that. We also provide information about transfer opportunities, whether it's programs or colleges or universities that might be a good fit for you. So that's certainly something we can talk with you about and kind of make sure you're on the right track. With regard to moving from LCC and as you progress through LCC and get into the transfer school. And then we help advise in a lot of decision making. So part-time versus full-time students, we have a lot of experience with students and kind of what their outside of LCC life is like, whether it's work or family commitments and that sort of thing. So we can always have good conversations about that. We'll discuss degree certificate transfer options like I've already kind of hit on. And then we always kind of make sure that we keep in mind your timeline for completion. So we like to make sure that students kind of know that they're making progress because that's important. And we try to make sure that we are supportive of you all the way through that. All right, and let's see. Is that the right slide, Angela? Okay, so connecting with an advisor, Angela's controlling the PowerPoint because I'm not to be trusted with it. So connecting with advisors. So there's a number of ways to come see us. So back in March when everything just kind of shut down for all of us, we all had to move remotely like most aspects of society did. So right now you can still schedule appointments with us just like you would have if you were on campus or if we were on campus. So and they're virtual appointments. So we could speak via telephone. We could do a WebEx appointment like this. Sometimes seeing that human interaction is kind of nice. And we can share screens and show you documents and that sort of thing, which is helpful. We have chat feature, which is actually a real-time chat. I believe we do it Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, I think from 10 to 2. So it's going to be like a usually just 10, 15 minute, just kind of quick 2 or 3 questions. It's not like degree planning per se. We talk to drop-ins on Wednesdays. So on Wednesdays from 9 to 4, you can call in, you can schedule a time, you can get put into a Google Doc, and then an advisor calls back. So Angela and I both were seeing drop-in students today, speaking for 10, 15 minutes, similar to chat. So that's another way to contact us. And we're also available via e-advising, which is basically just a standard email. So the email address is eadvising@lcc.edu. And we always ask that students include as much information in the email as you can, because it's going back and forth and trying to get student numbers and majors and stuff like that. It can take a little bit of time. So the more info you can give us right up front, the better it is for everybody. And connect with an advisor once a semester, at least, just to make sure you're on the right track. And we can always kind of check in and see how you're doing. Okay, so full-time versus part-time. This is kind of where I go back to what we were talking about with earlier when it comes to outside time commitments. Full-time is generally considered 12 semester credits, and anything over that. So that's what's kind of considered full-time status, and anything less than 12 credits is considered part-time, basically. So you can see the document down here. We always like to have conversations, especially with students that are just maybe getting started at LCC, whether they've been out of high school for a little bit or whether they're coming back to LCC after some time off, or whether they're a brand new student, maybe right out of high school. We like to have conversations about kind of what else you have going on in your life. So if you're working, again, if you have family commitments, if you volunteer, that sort of thing. So our sort of formula is that for every hour you're in class, we kind of, it's okay. It's all right. For every hour you're in class, we encourage you to spend 2 hours outside of class. Okay, and that sounds like a lot, and it can be, but when we say the 2 hours out of class, we're talking, rewriting your notes, we're talking group projects, we're talking studying, we're talking any other kind of project, or writing papers, or downloading information and uploading it back into your D2L. So if you're taking 12 credits per semester, you're going to want to spend about 20 to 24 hours outside of the class that week, just working, and you're going to want to make sure you balance that out with any other work you might have. And let's see, the rest of the slide kind of talks about, other responsibilities: work, family, sleep, social life. Social life's been weird lately, more weird for some people than others. But yeah, so we're still, we're going to have those conversations with you. An advisor can help, again, here it says, can help you see the big picture. And we also have success coaches that can help you with things like time management and resources at LCC. Okay, so we have our degrees have information on general education and MTA. And all of our MTA courses, or all of our MTA related degrees, that's really about 30 to 34 or so credits of what we kind of consider transfer friendly courses. And it's usually agreements between the community college and four-year institutions. But it's going to be important to make sure that you communicate with us, because which courses you take for those areas are going to be important. I'm going to try and share something with you. Can I share a screen, Angela? I don't know how that works.
Yeah, let me pass you the roll.
Okay. Okay. So really,
we should be good.
Okay, so really what I was going to show here just real quick is some of the general education requirements and some of the MTA related requirements. So you'll see here are the MTA areas. So English composition, and then there's going to be an English composition and communication requirement. You only need one course from each of those. Humanities and fine arts, 2 courses from different disciplines. This is always something, again, this is just a brief overview. You don't need to be writing it down necessarily. But these are just the areas of the MTA, and so I think there's 6 areas. So you'll see natural sciences, social sciences, and it's going to be important. This is where it's really important to make sure you connect with us, because the courses that are listed here will be important when we're talking about your degree or your transfer options. So keep that in mind. And again, another reason to just make sure you're communicating to us. I think I'm going to try to unshare now and go back. Maybe I was a little ahead of myself there.
Okay. Back to PowerPoint then.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so back to the PowerPoint, and again, these are just the areas that I talked about. So we'll move on to the next slide. So then there are applied degrees, and so applied degrees are 5 courses from the following areas. So again, there's the English or applied English, which is going to be 1 course, an English comp or a communications course or an applied communications course. Once again, we don't expect you to know what all that is. That's kind of our job to inform you of it. Humanities and fine arts, or a social science or an applied social science, math or applied math, and then natural science lab or an applied science lab with a technology lab. A lot of the applied sciences, technology sorts of labs, those are some of our West Campus areas. So things like HVAC and electrical tech and those more applied areas. But we can certainly help you with that as well.
Ellen, do you want to share your screen again and show them the tab for the applied?
Yeah, I can do that. If you'll switch it over here.
Yep, I can do that.
It takes a village.
That website's pretty handy.
Yeah, that is a handy website. Okay, so I'm going to go back, I believe, to here, and the MTA, again, is what I showed a minute ago, but it's different from the applied degrees. So the applied degrees are over here, or not the degrees, but the areas of the degree. So the 5 areas I just talked about. So there's the English comp area, and again, that's going to depend on your major. The English comp or communications area, which again will likely depend on your major. There's some humanities and fine arts options that a lot of those you'll see on the MTA, but not all of them, I don't believe. And then there's going to be the mathematics area, so quantitative reasoning, college algebra, or applied math. And again, the applied maths are going to be some of the areas that will be consistent with the applied degrees. And again, they don't meet some of these aren't located on the MTA. So that's where it's going to be, again, important to make sure you connect with us, because if you're just meeting MTA, but you're an electrical tech major, you might miss out on a math requirement, which would be bad news. And natural sciences, again, and then social sciences. So these are something that we can always help with. All right, I'm going to unshare, Angela.
Okay, and then I'll jump back to the PowerPoint. Thanks, Holly.
Sharing is caring. Okay, so that goes back to the applied degree. And then we have our program pathways. This is basically the term that we use at LCC sometimes for a major. So when people ask you, what's your major, what's your program pathway? So you can explore our program pathways and discover what programs of study meets your academic and career goals. And again, that's something we can help with. We also have career advising. I think I have a link for that here in a second. But we have a bunch of options, degrees, certificates. A lot of the certificates kind of build into the associate degrees, and then the associate degrees might build into a bachelor's program. So, and you can explore these by looking at some of these pages here. So if Angela could switch that over, I'll show you what our list of pathways look like. And again, a pathway is kind of a synonymous with a major. So we'll go back here.
And at the end of the presentation, I'll send everybody a referral guide. If you're concerned about, oh, where is he going? Where are these links at? I'll send you in a follow-up email after the seminar that information, as well as a referral guide for any other follow-up questions you have for other departments. We're just trying to show you where to navigate to. We'll also send links in an email.
Yeah. So again, we don't imagine you're going to remember every bit of this, but like Angela said, it's just a good reference tool. So for instance, this is the area here, and how I got there, if you're interested. So I just went to the lcc.edu site, academics, and I scroll down to program pathways. And then our most recent calendar year, or academic year rather, is 2020 through 2021, which is here. So you'll scroll down, and let's say you're interested in our associate in business and accounting. Not a lot of scrolling to get there. So you bring that up, and then it lists all of the requirements. So again, here are the general education requirements, the areas I just talked about. And you get to select one course from these areas. And then on down are going to be the program of required courses. So, you would start out a couple of accounting classes. Accounting 210 is always kind of like that first sort of entry-level accounting. Down here, again, is going to be some electives. So you get to kind of tailor your program a little bit around what maybe your goals are. And that's something we can always work with you on. And down here at the bottom is always kind of handy, because this is the recommended course sequence. And this is done, this is put together by the academic department. So this is actually put together by the accounting department. And it's basically to ensure that you and us supporting you make sure that you're kind of following the appropriate course sequencing. Okay, so you can't just take accounting 260 without taking some of the earlier accounting classes, and you'll get to know that as you come meet with us. All right, Angela, I'm going to stop sharing. I think my cat is meowing. He is looking for some attention. All right, so change of program. Students are expected to ensure their program pathway and year is always accurate in Banner self-service. The program pathway or year has been changed or is inaccurate, it must be updated by submitting a change of program request page. And you would need to be logged into your My LCC account, and then it's pretty intuitive once you get there. There's a link that refers to a change of program request. And I suppose I could show that. You think that's important right now?
Sure.
Okay, I could show you that, I do believe. And the main way I know to get there is through my personal, well, I guess it's not personal, it's my LCC account. But let's see. I can definitely just show you what it sort of looks like here. But it's important because it's going to be important to be consistent with pursuing the right curriculum year with the year that you're currently that it's going to be consistent, that the academic year has to match up with the program that you're following, because programs do change a little bit. But you would go in here and profile excuse me, and then there's a change of program request page, and this is why it's important to be logged into your account, because then there's change of program request. And then if you really want to change it, you got to click one more time, and then you got to prove that you really want to change it even more. Click the complete this form link, and then everything's kind of logged in there. Okay.
I learned something there, Alan. I didn't know that you could get it that way. I just go to the search box and type in forms.
Yeah, you can do that too.
Form.
Yeah, we all have our shortcuts, so, or
Yep.
the scenic route maybe is what it is. So, and again, that's not necessarily important for y'all right now, but it can be down the road somewhere. Okay, so and then degree works. So this is something where what this does, the best way I always describe this to students is it kind of takes your curriculum and all the courses you've taken at LCC or possibly transferred in from four-year institutions or AP credits, and it merges it with the requirements for your degree. Okay, so so it's a guide to help you and your advisor monitor and plan your pathway toward completion of your certificate and degrees. So the degree works compares your coursework against the requirements for the degree, like I just kind of mentioned, for your declared major, to produce an easy to read audit divided into blocks. And it does, it lists it like these are the MTA requirements, these are the major requirements, and then these are the electives. And so it's pretty handy. And how to access your degree works. Angela, did you want to show them that? You remember you and I had talked about that today. So Angela's going to show you this because I don't have this. I can get to degree works. It's a fundamental part of my job, but I don't have the student tab, only the faculty tab.
I can do that. Give me a moment and I will open up my LCC. So here's my LCC, my account here. So you should have a school tab. And if you click on the school tab over here in the e-toolbox, you should be able to access DegreeWorks here. The other way is if you just access it through Banner. So there's multiple ways to get there. So if you're in your student account, you click on the student menu here, DegreeWorks is right here. And so it would open up there as well. And I don't mind sharing my screen because I'm not currently a student, but these were the blocks that Alan had mentioned. And so you can see the different sections here on what's met and what's not met. It's really a nice way to take that program pathway that he showed on the website. It's like the electronic version of that, and it keeps track of what you have complete and what you still have left to meet. All right. So
thanks, Angela.
Yeah, let's go back to the PowerPoint. Everyone's gotten a bit more tech savvy with COVID.
I have definitely gotten more tech savvy with COVID. I had a long way to go, so my curve was quite broad. So, and Angela just basically showed you this. So how to access your My Academic map. It's embedded in your degree works. And what a map is it stands for My Academic Pathway. And so that's what we do a lot of with students is it's kind of convenient because it's termed a map, and to get from here to there, sometimes we need a map. And so often what we do is we take your end goal and then we just start working backwards to where you currently are. and then we build a semester by semester plan. And that is your map. Sometimes we'll do a 1 semester map, just like, hey, this is working for spring semester. Come see me halfway into the semester, and then we'll talk about summer and fall. And sometimes we add 2 and 3 semesters. So a lot of it is kind of dependent, situational on the student. And again, that's embedded in your degree works too, and we can always work with you on that. This is actually one of the cooler options that we used to that we've had in degree works. It was really handy because we used to have to do everything paper and pencil wise. But so, let's say you're a student and you've been attending LCC for even just a semester or two, and you're pursuing accounting, but then you come to us and you're like, I've really got this I developed this passion for I want to go into the paralegal program. What we can do is a couple of clicks of a little drop down menu, and we can merge all of your previous classes with the paralegal curriculum and click what if, like, what if Angela changes her major to this, then it kind of populates the courses in. And so that's something that we can help you with. I believe students have access to the what if part as well. Yeah, we can show them. This really is kind of a handy little tool. And again, while Angela's pulling this up, y'all, if you have questions, you can write them in over on the right-hand side of the page.
Here's the map that Alan was talking about. It's the tab underneath your name. If you click on that, your map should populate here. I'm going to jump back to the worksheet tab and show where that what if feature is. It is pretty cool. It's right here under worksheets. You click on that, and let's say your example is paralegal. Scroll down. And then you process right here, this gray process what if. And of course, I don't have any classes, but it does change the view temporarily. There it is.
Yeah. And it's important to remember when she said the word temporarily, it sparked this idea in my head that it's important to remember that the what if tab and the what if process is not a change of major. It's just like, hey, what if I did want to do this? So keep that in mind.
Yep.
All right. And then course descriptions. So there are multiple ways to view course descriptions, and you can log into your My LCC and into your Banner account and into your student and into registration. So that's certainly one way. I'll show you the way that I get there, since we've already established that I don't have a student profile. I've never taken a class at LCC, so I've never had to be a student. So if Angela could switch that over to me, we'll be cool. So I'm going to bring up my screen again here. And again, this is how I traditionally, and as Angela sort of suggested there a few minutes ago, there are different ways to search for various things here. But usually when I'm looking up the schedule, I'll just search schedule. I'll click here, and then I get to course offerings. Now we're in the way again. There we go. And so I'll click Banner System. And then let's say for spring semester, spring 2021's up. Registration started 2 days ago. And so, let's say I'm trying to decide between maybe History 211 and History 212. So I'll scroll down and I'll look. And yeah, you can, if I want to see what History 211 is all about, you'll bring that up. And so here are all the sections of History 211 we're offering in the spring semester. And then if you really want to see the course description, which is handy, you can just kind of click on that, I do believe, and it's pretty brief. A political and economic, social and cultural history of the United States from colonial beginnings to 1877. It also has prerequisites here. So you need a reading level 5 and a writing level 6. I often use it for that a lot. So, and again, you can do this for all of our courses. They're embedded in here. You can also get this through your registration tab as well. Okay. All right, Angela, going back to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're back here. And then there's the college catalog. So this is kind of like, sort of the document that LCC sort of we're always working on, and we're always kind of tweaking. So there's information about a lot of the stuff we've already talked about. So general education, MTA, program pathways, course descriptions, and course syllabi is the plural, if you probably knew that. So, and again, the college catalog is basically just where everything really pertaining to LCC is going to be located. Now, again, we don't expect you to know the ins and outs of it. That's a lot of what we do, and that's a lot of what other areas at LCC does as well. So, Angela, if you could show me that, or if you could let me share, I'll show you the course catalog real quick, please. Okay. So I'll show you again over here. And it's pretty easy to get to. I think I have it right here. Yeah, so this is what it kind of looks like, okay? So there's a nice little sunset behind the Gannon building, it looks like. And so it's the 2021 college catalog. And there's information here about being new to LCC, course syllabus. You can just go in here and search. And so instructors dating all the way back for quite a while. I mean, this is our Arts 103 course. And so different instructors over here dating all the way back to spring of 2014 and probably, even before. We'll upload course syllabi in there. So keep that in mind. Course offerings, again, this is probably the page we were just at. So that's cool. There's a registration tab, student policies, procedures, and regulations. We do a lot of this, it seems like, with students. We're always talking about different policies and procedures and regulations because there's all these little intricate nuances when you're at LCC or any institution, really, and it's important to let someone help you through that because it can be a little overwhelming. So just another reason you need to hang out in the advising office when you can. All right, Angela, shall I stop sharing?
These are all those links you visited, so I'll make sure to send those out. And career services. Did you want me to click on career services?
I think we're okay. Career services, I'll just give you a brief update. That's where you'll go when you're working on possibly on-campus employment, even, or you're also going to be working with some career exploration or things like resume building and interview skills. So just know that that's out there for you.
Thanks, Alan.
Yep.
All right, guys, I'm going to take over. So waiver information, it's good especially as a transfer student, even as a guest student, because there might be guest students who are also participating in the seminar, to have the waiver information. And it's good to plan ahead because LCC students are required, as Alan mentioned in the course descriptions, to meet certain prerequisites and placement levels before they can register. And you need to establish a placement level in reading, writing, and math. And submitting a waiver form with previous college coursework completed may earn you the levels that you need in reading, writing, and in math. And so it might save you from placement testing. The other option on the waiver form is to ask for a prerequisite course override. You might have mathematics completed at MSU, for example, but you are struggling to get into the human physiology course. Waiver form and showing us that you've completed, human anatomy and mathematics, those prerequisites, we can then put in a course override so you're able to go ahead and register for that. So that's important to know. The other useful thing about the waiver form is you can waive new student orientation. So transfer students and guest students aren't required to do online orientation. And so that's something that you can have waived, but you have to use that form. I do want to note that to receive college credit, you'll still want to have your official transcripts sent to the LCC registrar's office. And for them to be official, it needs to go from registrar to registrar. So you can't turn them in for transfer credits, but you can use the unofficial transcript for your waiver process. That could be one of the documentations that you use. But I just want to be clear that the waiver process is separate from the transfer credit process. So on the waiver form, like I said, you can use an unofficial transcript. We don't need official documents. It could be a college transcript, a copy of your degree, your high school transcript or GED, SAT, PSAT scores, AP exam scores. Those could all be submitted. Making sure that the form that you submit is, a documentation that you submit to the form, my apologies there, it's legible and readable, and that your name, full name and test date and or dates of enrollment are on there. So then they could be processed. And typically it takes 1 to 3 business days, depending on the time of year. So let me navigate to the waiver form. Jump over to this screen. Okay, so I believe I've got that here. Here's the waiver form. And it, again, just talks a little bit about what we covered. You can fill out the waiver form by clicking on this button. I'm already logged into my LCC, so it should hopefully pre-populate some of that information. But you'll, again, want to click complete this form. It's a dynamic form. And then fill out the information on the form. It's pretty straightforward. And then upload your documentation. That's the waiver form process. Again, if you have any questions along the way, feel free to put those in the chat. So course modalities. So the college expects, now there are some late start fall classes, but we're kind of looking towards spring at this point, spring 2021, that they're going to fit a majority of the college courses into these 3 types, which would be online real-time, or online hybrid. There will be some face-to-face, but usually like those classes, if you look at the offerings now, they're open. Technical careers and health careers, there are a few general education courses that may run online hybrid, but just know that depending on how things go, if we can't teach the classes on campus due to COVID, they will be canceled. But we want to make sure it's a safe environment, and the welfare of our students and our instructors and employees, you know, when they come back to campus, that it's safe to do so. So that's another thing to be mindful of, the online hybrid and face-to-face classes. If things change with COVID, though, they may be canceled. So, but primarily what you'll be registering for would be online, traditional online asynchronous. Online real-time is a synchronous version of that. So it's a virtual live class session. There'll be scheduled days and times where you'll need to be on the computer. Whereas, you know, in a face-to-face, it'd be similar in that sense where you'd be going to campus, well, you would be logging on the online real-time. So keep an eye out for those types of course modalities as you're registering for classes. So speaking of online and online real-time, even face-to-face courses, a majority of your work is going to be housed in the online classroom. And we use D2L, that's our learning management system. So you'd go there to access your courses, communicate with instructors, other students in the class. Once you complete coursework, you'd upload it to D2L. Your class may have quizzes and exams that you have to do within D2L. So a majority of your college coursework will be housed within that learning management system. It can be, we talked about kind of being a little more tech savvy now in this virtual environment that we're living in. And it can be hard if you're transferring in and you are used to a different system, transitioning to D2L and Banner, or if you're returning to LCC and when you attended, there wasn't an online classroom, just kind of reacclimating to that online environment. E-learning is having live web sessions throughout the semester. They've got a really great landing page for any resources you may need, any questions. navigating. WebEx is used in some of the classrooms, so that might be another area where you want to learn a little bit more about utilizing the tools that you have for e-learning. So here's the online e-learning web page, and then this link right here is the student resource site. So they have so many different online tools, and they do live sessions. They record sessions and post them online. So if there was an old session that maybe you wanted to watch what they covered on WebEx tools, you can go in and join, either join the live session or watch the pre-recorded. So don't worry if you're concerned about navigating some of those tools. We've got support for that as well. All right, textbooks. So some of your textbooks may be, well, I should say some of the classes may not require a textbook. Other classes may require that you purchase material. So we have a couple different options. We don't have a physical bookstore. I don't know when the physical bookstore closed at LCC. Most colleges are moving to online bookstores like MBS Direct. They're our bookstore provider. And so if you're curious about what you need to get for your courses, you can search that on MBS Direct. So I'll show you where to find that. The steps are here, but I'm gonna walk you through it. All right. Got too many windows open. Here we go. All right, so textbooks. So here, sorry for all the clicking. Here's the landing page for the textbook. And then if you are getting a voucher, I'm not going to steal Jim's thunder here. I'll let you talk about the voucher, Jim. But there's a lot of information here on the bookstore and the voucher option. To view your textbooks, you just click on the online bookstore and it takes you to the LCC MBS Direct page. You could just click Get Started. And let's say we're going to look for maybe spring classes and you're taking maybe English 121. So you can find the class that you've registered for in this section and then basically build out your schedule. The other nice thing is in your Banner account, you can click on bookstore information and it'll pre-populate the classes if you've already registered for them. We'll just throw another one on there. And then once it's there, click View Your Materials, and then here they are. Oh, look at that. And English doesn't have, this is a good example, English doesn't have a textbook. You get the materials from the instructor, but it looks like if you were taking this accounting class, you'd have to purchase this book. And if you were gonna maybe look elsewhere, shop around, if you're not using the book voucher, you wanted to look on Chegg or Amazon, you could take that information, the ISBN and the edition, all that information, and search elsewhere if you wanted. But yeah, that's how you look up your textbook information. Kind of cool. But I remember, going with my schedule to the bookstore and looking on the shelves. Those days, those are long gone. I don't think too many schools are doing that.
RIP to that.
Yeah, that's true. So these are the links I just shared. I didn't show the transfer opportunities and equivalencies. I'll share that here in a minute, especially for the students who are either guest students or are transferring credits in. It's really nice to kind of look ahead to see what might be incoming for your transfer credits. And so let me open this up. Hop back here to the website. Close this, transfer opportunities. So here's this landing page to talk a little bit about some of the transfer agreements we have, incoming transfer equivalencies, the University Center. That's pretty awesome. There's a lot of different other four-year colleges that have partnered with LCC for a 3+1. And you're like, what's a 3+1? Come to advising, we'll explain it. But it's a way to get a bachelor's degree for less. You can do a large portion of your classes at LCC and then do just a handful at the University Center at a cheaper rate. So you could get a bachelor's degree, for a significantly lower cost. So one thing to maybe look into, we've got Ferris State, Siena Heights, Northwood, CMU. I feel like I'm missing another one.
U of M Flint.
U of M Flint. How could I forget U of M Flint? All my nursing students. Yeah, and U of M Flint. So if you're curious about what the opportunities would be for the University Center, by all means, meet with an advisor and we can talk about some 3+1 options for you. Incoming transfer equivalencies. This page is pretty cool. So let's say you were coming from Baker College. You would just click here and basically here's the Baker class you took and the LCC equivalent. So you could see, if you were a super planner and you wanted to see what you were getting, we have those tools available for you. Okay. So campus locations. I know campus is slowly starting to reopen. We have numerous campus sites. There's the downtown campus in Lansing, downtown Lansing. There's West Campus. Most of the tech careers are out there. That's a really cool campus. We've got East, LCC East, that's over by MSU. Livingston County Center, that's in Parker Middle School. The Aviation Maintenance Campus, the Center for Workforce Transition, and the AIS Training Center. I haven't visited that, but that's really cool. That's like the heavy equipment program. I mean, they're like doing using bobcats, and what are those? The crane? What are the thing with the
like the big front end loaders?
Yeah, front end loader. The thing.
Yeah, those things are cool.
Yeah, so I mean that's really cool that we have that. You like me?
Yeah, the international symbol for front end loader.
Yep, no, we know. In the near future, who knows? But when campus opens and we can go to campus and park, I want to bring this up because when you do, even if you go to campus, right now there's a protocol on visiting campus, but being mindful of where to park. Full-time and part-time students do have access to convenient parking. There's lots. There's the garage next to Gannon Building. Parking permits, though, are issued at the beginning of every semester, and you have to be registered. And if you don't put the decal on there, put the days and times that they're enforced, you could get a ticket from our campus police. So be mindful of like where to park. If you are, maybe you're enrolled in a spring class where you will have to do some online hybrid face-to-face and you will have to venture to campus, especially the downtown campus. Just watch where you're parking so you don't get a ticket, or if you park on the street, you don't get towed from the city. So just be careful because there's meters as well, but you don't have to pay for a meter. We've got lots and we've got the parking garage. So just be mindful of where you are parking when you are on campus. Payment plans. Again, Jim, I'm not going to steal your thunder. I'm just going to very briefly talk about this. Students, after registering for class, you might want to look into your financial aid package. I do think that there's a bit of a lag time after you register, and Jim will talk more about that. But you're going to want to make sure you establish a payment plan or pay your balance, especially if you don't have a financial aid package that covers the cost of your tuition. The reason why that's so important is if you do have a balance and you don't have a payment plan set up, you run the risk of getting dropped from classes. And as things start to fill up towards the end of registration, it might be really hard to, one, get back in that class that you had picked and or something that is remotely close to what you want to take. You might be kind of stuck with a schedule that's really not your preferred. And so there are ways to enroll in the payment plan. I've listed them there. I'm not going to talk too much more about that because I'm sure Jim will cover some of that. But know that if you do have a balance, you're going to want to explore options on a payment plan. And then with that, I'm going to turn it on over to Jim.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Well,
Angela.
financial aid. So let me just basically go over the basics of how financial aid works at LCC. And I would just start by saying that it works at our college basically the same way it works wherever you go to college, whether it's a state school or a private college or another community college. All of the financial aid sort of processes are governed by federal regulations for the most part. So we all have to basically play by the same rules and have the same general policies in place. So if you've done financial aid at one school before, you've probably done it at all of them. So let me just start by saying that, and if you could go to the next slide, Angela, most students who go to college use financial aid. That's the first thing we like to share to make sure people realize that it's kind of almost an expectation that you would apply for financial aid when you go to college. I mean, there are some families who've saved and bought prepaid tuition plans or created, education savings plans and stuff like that. But by and large, most families haven't done that. So you'll need financial aid, most of you, to pay for tuition, obviously. But you can use financial aid even at a community college that doesn't have dorms. You can use it for rent, living in an apartment or a house or something nearby. You can use it for school supplies. You can use your financial aid for transportation, keep your car working. Now, you can't buy a car with financial aid. You can't come to the office and say, I want a loan to buy a car. Okay, go get a car loan at a bank for that. But you can use financial aid to help pay for all the kind of educational related expenses. No shopping sprees, no entertainment systems. Yes, I've talked to students who said they needed a new PS5 because that's how they access their course. And I'm like, no, you're going to have to use a computer for that. We're not going to let you buy a PlayStation. But that's basically what financial aid is for. And I want to talk about what types of financial aid are available and how to apply. And sort of create a little image here of 4 buckets of types of financial aid. And most students who go to college get one or more of these. In fact, it's not uncommon that you might get all 4 of them, even in a single year, or certainly if you go to school for several years, maybe you'll get one of those each, at least by the time you're finished. And I haven't put them in any order here, just but they need to be talked about. So the first one I would say is scholarships, which is free money. Everybody kind of has an idea in their head about what a scholarship is. And we know that athletes get scholarships, and we know that students who did really academically well in school can get scholarships. But our college gives scholarships to students who are studying all kinds of programs, who came to us with all different kinds of ACT and SAT and GPAs. I mean, we have all kinds of scholarships for all kinds of students. So you can apply for scholarships at LCC online, lcc.edu/scholarships. We're not hiding the application. The application isn't out right now. It'll come out in December, and it'll be due at the end of January if you want to get a scholarship for the 21-22 school year. Besides looking just for scholarships at LCC, you can do kind of a national scholarship search and find out, who's giving scholarships to students from big organizations and stuff like Target and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and Coca-Cola and McDonald's and all those different private scholarships out there. And you can go to fastweb.com and fill out a profile there that helps you kind of match up with scholarships you could apply for. And scholarships basically are applied towards your tuition and fees. They reduce the cost of your tuition. I will say this, having worked at the college for so long, very few students actually apply for scholarships. We give away hundreds of scholarships every year, and we get maybe 1,000 applicants. And we're like a 10 to 15,000 student population. So there's a lot of people who could apply and plenty who don't. The other type of free money that you can get besides a scholarship is a grant. And grants aren't based on any kind of academic achievement or artistic achievement or something like that. They're just based on your income, your family's income. And if you have low income, you're going to qualify for a grant. It's the same grant you would get here as you would get at MSU, except like the grants just go further at a community college because the cost is less. And more than half of all of our students and more than half of students nationwide get grants. The largest grant you might have heard of is called the Pell Grant. It's a federally funded grant from the U.S. Department of Education. You can get it here. If you go to school year round and you qualify for the full grant, you're going to qualify for over $9,000 a year. So that is, if you're like paying the in-school district tuition, that's more than enough to pay for full-time tuition fees, books and supplies, and then some. So I'll tell you about how to apply for grants in a minute, but you probably know if you've done this before. The 2 other types of aid you can get from the federal government are work study and loans. And Alan said something earlier about student employment on campus, and you can certainly apply for jobs even now, even in our remote working environment. You can apply for work study jobs. There are student employment jobs, 20, 25-hour-a-week jobs, roughly minimum wage. And at our school, you earn a paycheck and you get paid, but the payment comes from basically financial aid. So you get a paycheck for working someplace on campus, and that helps you pay your tuition or your supplies or your rent or whatever. It's just a great way to get a job. It's an incentive for our departments to hire you if you apply for financial aid and qualify for work study. And then the last type of federal aid you can get is a student loan. And maybe we did put this in order for a reason, because like loans you want to go to last. And I'm not super like down on loans. If you want to borrow a loan to go to college, great. There's probably not a better investment you can make in your life in getting an education, but you want to borrow conservatively. It is an investment in your future. You will certainly earn more. You'll be more employable. You have a higher quality of life and more meaning in the work that you're doing, no doubt. But we want to encourage you to, if you're going to borrow a federal loan, to borrow conservatively. Students can borrow, parents can borrow. These loans aren't ever going to go away though. So you'll have to repay them after college, and most students will take 10 to 20 years, depending on how much they borrowed, to pay their loans back. There'll be interest on the loan when you're paying it back. Sometimes you'll qualify for a loan where there's no interest on it while you're in school. You don't have to make any payments on it. There's no interest, but certainly after you get out of school, you have to pay it back. And I just kind of want to stress this, you have to pay it back thing, because sometimes students think, well, if I file for bankruptcy, or if I don't graduate, I won't have to pay them back, or if I get unemployed, I won't have to pay it back. And that's not true. If you borrow a loan for your education, you'll pay back, and you'll be able to, when you graduate, you'll be earning a lot more money. So if you want to figure out like how much loans should you think about borrowing, talk to somebody like myself, talk to an advisor like me who can help you figure out. Because I have conversations with students where they'll say, can I get a student loan? And I'll say, sure. And they'll say, how much can I get? And I say, how much do you need? And then they say, well, how much can I get? And then I say, how much do you need? And they say, well, I have no idea how much I need, but how much can I get? I just want to take it all so that I'm safe. And that's never really a wise idea to do that, to like stockpile your student loan in your bank account, and we'll see how long it lasts there. So talk to us if you have questions about student loans, and we're happy to help you figure out like the extra paperwork you have to do at the school to get one. They're pretty easy to get. They're not credit based. You just have to keep your grades up, and I'll talk about that in a couple other slides. So how do you apply for financial aid? You apply at LCC the same way you apply everywhere in the country. California, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, even North Carolina. I mean, anywhere you go, this is the application you're going to do. It's called the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, the FAFSA. This is kind of what the screen looks like, although they've updated a little bit. You go to FAFSA.gov. It doesn't cost anything to apply. This is the application you'll use to see if you can get free grants, those work-study jobs, those federal student loans. You do this application. And this application is actually processed by the U.S. Department of Ed. So they sort of process the application and send it down to the school. So eventually I'm going to show you what you're going to do at LCC once you file the application. Now we'll help you file the application, even though our campus isn't open. Normally we'd say you can come to campus and we can help you. But you can get online chat help at this website. There's telephone numbers you can call to get help to complete the application. You can even make an appointment with someone like myself, and we'll help you do the application. So we want to make sure you get this done. Now, right now we're doing, for students who are in school this school year, they're doing the 2020-2021 FAFSA. But you can also right now file the 2021-2022 FAFSA, if that's not confusing. But you can file both school year FAFSAs. And so you need to do both, really, if you're going to be in school this year and next year. And by this year, I mean this school year. So that's basically August through July, 20 to 21. And then again, August through July of 21 into 22. In terms of doing the FAFSA, there's a few other things I'd say about it. Some of you may have done it before, but you basically have to complete the application with your income information and your family information and all that. And all that gets captured. There's like 50 or 60 questions asking you if you filed taxes, and you can import your tax information into the FAFSA, and kind of takes care of that for you. Once you file the application, if there were special circumstances like this year, a lot of families have lost their income. Some students can't get their parents' information on their FAFSA because they left home when they were younger, or they're at risk of homelessness, or just any other loss of income, or unusual family circumstances. You want to communicate those to the financial aid office so we can help you like sort through the whole process and make sure you're getting a really fair look at what your income situation is when we're looking at your financial aid awards. This is what you'll see when you sign into your Banner account, which we looked at earlier. And when you sign into Banner, you'll have three portals you can get into: a student portal, a personal portal, and then a financial aid portal. This is the one where you can view your FAFSA, make sure we got it. You can see if there's any requirements, see if there's any terms and conditions to accept, review your award offers, accept your award offers, all the transactions you do to accept your financial aid, turn in paperwork. You do it all electronically through this online Banner system. This is the system that half the colleges in the country use. It's pretty straightforward. And if you need help while you're going through it, you can call us. We're open during the day. You can just call us and we'll help walk you through it. So a few other things about financial aid, then we'll talk payment plans. All financial aid is great, and you can basically, most people will qualify for it as long as they have at least a 2.0 cumulative GPA. So you all probably understand what that is, but you also have to maintain a 70% completion ratio. That's governed. It's a rule that comes from the feds. We call them the feds affectionately. And they basically say, look, The GPA is not the only thing we want you to look at. Make sure they're actually completing their classes, not withdrawing from them, not taking incompletes. So you got to complete at least 70% of the credits you sign up for. And then the last rule they have is that you have to finish within a certain amount of, not really time in terms of calendar time, but credits. So you have 150, you have an extra 50% of the credits you need to get your degree. You have to finish by then. So if you're changing majors and changing schools too much, you'll run out of financial aid eventually. And we have a way of tracking that. And if you ever want to know how much financial aid have I used, how much time do I have left, how many semesters do I have left, we can always look that up for you. Angela talked about this earlier too, about getting books and supplies. Now we send out money before school even starts into a book voucher and a supply voucher. So we'll direct deposit money into your bank account and send up money into the bookstore so you can get your books and supplies before school even starts. Now you'll get those books and supply vouchers if you have enough financial aid to get them. So if your tuition is $2,000 and we gave you $1,000 worth of financial aid, you won't get it because you still owe $1,000. But if your tuition is $2,000 and we gave you $3,000 worth of financial aid, well, then you got an extra $1,000 coming to you. We're going to send it to the bookstore. We're going to send it to you so you can get your books and supplies. We publish the dates that we send that stuff out, but it's basically about a month before school starts. And I'll show you in a minute that you can set up your refund preference. So again, payment plans, every college has a payment plan system, and so do we. And that basically means when you register for your classes, you have a few different options. You have to tell the school how you want your tuition paid. They don't know what you want to do until you tell them. So we don't know how you want your tuition paid until you tell us. So if you've applied for financial aid, you probably are going to use your financial aid to pay your tuition, but you'll want to tell us that. If you're not going to use financial aid and you're just going to pay on your own, you can pay in full. You could set up a monthly or biweekly payment plan. You could set up deferred payment plans, which means your payment plan starts later in the semester. If you have third-party billing, which means you have an employer that's paying your tuition or the state of Michigan's paying your tuition or something, we can set up billing for them to bill them instead of billing you. All that stuff we do through our student finance office, and you can set it up electronically in your Banner account. You will, when you register, there's like 2 steps to registration. Pick your classes and select your payment plan. Those are the 2 things you want to do. And the timing of like when your payment is due and when your financial aid gets authorized and when you need to be in a payment plan, we publish all that stuff, and the dates move based on when you enroll in your classes. So the earlier you enroll in your classes, the sooner you have to set up your payment plan and make sure your financial aid is accepted and applied to your account. If you've got more financial aid than your tuition and fees, you don't have to set up a payment plan. It's not required, but it's highly recommended that you do that, especially if you don't have enough financial aid to pay everything. And so one of the last things I want to talk about is how do we get the money to you? When I say we send you like a supply advance, we send it via direct deposit, and you have to tell us your bank account routing number. You do it online through a secure server, what the name of your banking institution is, what the routing number is, your bank account number, and that's how we send you your money electronically. We don't have checks on campus that you come in to pick up. We don't mail checks. I guess ultimately the school would mail you a check if you didn't set up a refund preference, but it takes extra weeks to get that. So if you want your funds electronically transferred to you the day they're available, make sure in your Banner account that you set up your refund preference. That's where you'll get your refunds even if you're not getting financial aid. You sign up for your classes and pay for them, and the next day you drop them and you want a refund, they refund it to you electronically through that EFT. So make sure to set that up in your Banner account. And you just do that in the financial aid menu or the student menu. There's 2 different places to get into it. So last slide, helpful hint. Been doing this for a while. Here's my advice. We've shown you what Banner looks like. Log in there, check that and your email weekly at least. You want to make sure that that your financial aid is awarded, that there's no extra requirements, because many people have extra forms they have to turn in to accept their financial aid. So make sure you're logging into your Banner account weekly, making sure everything's moving along and getting your awards posted. When you see your awards posted, those award amounts are based on full-time enrollment. So your aid will prorate if you're a part-time student, basically. What that means is you typically don't get the full amount if you're a full-time student. And there's different rules for different grants and loans and how many credits you have to be. It varies by student and the program you're in and the type of aid you have. But the initial award offer is always based on full-time enrollment. So if you want to know what you're going to get based on part-time enrollment, you can look it up in your account or you can give us a call. Financial aid will only count the courses that are in your program of study as being eligible for us to disperse financial aid to. So if you are an English major and you're also taking welding classes, it's likely we're not going to count those welding classes as part of your English major. So they're not going to count when we look at your enrollment for financial aid. So make sure you're taking classes that are in your program of study if you want financial aid to pay for them. And then again, make sure you're setting up a payment plan, because the school will go through and look at students who've registered who haven't set up a payment plan, and they will potentially just drop them out of the class, open that seat up so another student can take that seat and who will set up a payment plan. So the reason that I got invited to this panel tonight is because I'm an expert in financial aid, and we have experts in academics advising, we have experts in coaching you and tutoring you and all kinds of stuff on campus. There's lots of us here. Believe it or not, we all went to school to do this and we like doing it. So come and bug us when you have questions. Don't ask your friends or family, hey, I have questions about my financial aid. Don't ask them, ask us. That's what we're here for. Typically you can visit us when we open up campus again, you can visit us there, but you can connect with us online or call us. You can make appointments with advisors like myself. If you don't like me, there's 5 other financial aid advisors you can see. Just say not Jim when you make the appointment and they'll understand why. But no, we really love doing this, and we hope that you'll connect with us if you have questions.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah,
thanks, Jim.
And I doubt any student's going to say, no, not Jim.
Mm-hmm.
He's hard to get along with, that Jim.
So we're finishing up here in just a few moments. Any questions, by all means, please put them in the Q&A. We'll leave it open here in a minute. I just want to cover this landing page on returning to campus and any updates we have on COVID-19. We have a page specific to students. I'm going to share that now. I think it's really good, especially with everything going on, to kind of keep an eye on what's happening on campus. So just give me a moment here and I'll open this up and share my screen. And again, I will send out these links. But here's kind of what to expect. Remote student services. A majority of the staff are working remotely. Ways to connect with other folks and departments, all right here. And any other questions you might have on the CARES Act, responsibility of the students, expectations and accommodations, and then anything else here. I mean, this is a really good landing page for students on the return to campus. So again, I will send this out after the seminar. We're going to hang out for a few more moments. If anybody has any questions, I'll field those through the Q&A. But I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank the panelists, Jim and Alan, for taking some time after the workday to do this with me. I really appreciate it. And we're here to chat, so we'll hang out for a few minutes. If you have any questions, like I said, we'll field any general questions. Anything that is unique to you in your student situation. It might be better suited for a one-on-one appointment or an email. Yeah.
Thanks, Angela. You did a great job.
Well, I think you did a good job too, passing back that.
You're a great host.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we meshed well together.
Yeah, we rocked it.
We did rock it.